Magandang araw po, ako po si Rosan de la Cruz at ito ang Reforma. Dito sa ating programa, tututukan natin ng mga institusyon at ahensya sa tatlong sangay ng gobyerno. Maayos ba ang pagpapatakbo ng mga ito o kailangan bang baguhin para mapaganda ang kanilang serbisyo sa mga Pilipino? Sa aming episode ngayong linggo, tatalakayin natin ang pinakabagong online platform na mapapakinabangan ng mga bagong graduate. Nahihirapan ba kayong maghanap ng trabaho? Kahit may college degree kayo, skills at experience ang madalas hinahanap ng mga kumpanya. Pero paano naman kayo makakakuha ng experience kung wala pa kayong makuhang trabaho? May isang paraan, ang on-the-job experience o OJT. At ang magandang balita, magkakaroon na ng platform na magbibigay sa inyo ng oportunidad na mag-OJT. Hindi lang po sa mga kumpanya rito sa Pilipinas, pati na rin sa mga kumpanyang overseas. Para ipaliwanag kung ano itong platform na ito, makakapanayam natin si Ginoong Romero, founder ng OJT Connect.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for having me, and good evening from San Diego.
Yeah, hi, good morning. So, can you just say what exactly is OJT Connect and what services does it offer?
So, OJT Connect is a simple platform. It's just like any other job website, but it's specifically developed for on-the-job training. Our target is to highlight the talents of the Filipino students. And the platform is simple. Companies could post their on-the-job training positions, and students could therefore apply. And the transaction is exactly the same, just like any other job website. OJT Connect is just primarily the bridge to connect the overseas business to the student.
So what made you decide to set up this OJT Connect?
I'll be honest, it was from a lot of experiences. I can't really break it down to one, but it was primarily from my experiences being in the Philippines, working with the students from PUP, and also just talking to people around me. For so many years, it's been the narrative for Filipinos, especially living abroad, that they had a degree, but work opportunity that pertained to their degree wasn't provided due to the lack of experience.
So how did you set up this OJT Connect? Tell us about the beginnings of this platform.
The beginnings. Wow, I think it all stemmed and started from my relationship with PUP Onisan. My family is from Onisan, Quezon, and when I published my first application, I was asked to be a special lecturer at PUP Onisan. From there, my eyes kind of opened up, seeing the students and hearing the difficulties of employment, especially after graduation. I've learned from I learned from working with the students that a lot of them, what I noticed after graduating, they had to find the best job opportunity that's presented to them. And I hate to say it, a lot of the job opportunities that were presented to them that paid really well were either a call center or a virtual assistant. And I'll be honest, that kind of bothered me. So that kind of motivated me to start this type of development, because I don't want graduates to settle for something like that. I think there's more they could provide to this world.
So who helped set up OJT Connect, and what was the involvement of the alumni of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines? And why did you choose PUP for this project?
So I was actually approached to a couple of alumni. They've seen my work in terms of philanthropy with PUP Onisan. And that kind of goes to your second question. The reason why I chose PUP Onisan was my strong relationship with them and partnership I've had with them in the past, which developed to an MOU with PUP Maine. So I started off with a tablet drive during COVID with PUP Onisan. I realized that a lot of these students, especially the province, had to resort to distance learning, and then they didn't have the hardware in order to continue their education. So I started the tablet drive here in San Diego. I brought up the Filipino community together, and then they donated tablets, and we sent them off to PUPO Nissan. From there, I did an OJT with PUPO Nissan, and I brought in about 10 students to work for me. And these students, I didn't want them to do meaningless tasks for me. I wanted them to do actual work because my Good Day Communications in San Diego is a tech company, and I wanted them to actually use their skills when they work for me. I didn't want them to do anything remotely. That was complete nonsense. I wanted them to create their own startup and their own development that fixed a problem within their community. And they did. They developed and they pitched me a ride sharing platform. They called it Van Pen, which is a ride sharing platform mainly meant for vans in the province. And it was a great idea because, as we all know, van transportation is extremely expensive for people in the province. But, that wasn't the goal for them to publish their first website. The goal was to have two things on their resume upon graduation. And one was to have an overseas company that they did on the job training with. And two was to have a published platform on their resume. And the outcome of it was 8 out of the 10 students from PUPO Nissan got jobs in their respective fields. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that led to a couple of alumni approaching me and asking me, I want to start a development with you. So that kind of sparked their motivation, and that started the transition of the development of OJT Connect.
That's great. So when you were working with the PUP alumni, did you gain some insights on the problems of young job seekers here in the Philippines, especially in the rural areas?
Oh yeah, nonstop they would tell me this is the reason why they're motivated in order to publish this development and start this endeavor with me. Is it is true. I had my thoughts behind it. I always believed that college graduate students from the province are about 5 or 10 steps back from students in the city. So imagine how difficult it is for these individual students to get a job. Um, so my developers would tell me maybe, out of their class, maybe about 8 or 10 of them would actually land a job in their respective fields. And we're talking about computer science and BSIT. So, it's a nonstop type of question I hear, and, answers that I hear all the time, where it is difficult to land a job in your prospective study.
Let's talk about job skills mismatches, no? Were there any views regarding this in the Philippines? And many Filipinos are working in fields which are not in any way related to their college degrees.
You know, in terms of mismatch, that's a problem everywhere. We have the mismatch here in the United States. We have, unless you're majoring in something that's more specific and specialized, like in computer science, or you're going into healthcare or going into law, you have a job that's, almost guaranteed right off the bat, right? But there is mismatch everywhere. I think what we're lacking in the Philippines is growth. For example, in the US, I can major in a psychology degree and get a great office job. It may not be the job of my dreams, but having that degree will give me growth, right? And a possibility. I'm able to have the potential to move up the ladder. I don't think they have that in the Philippines. I don't think the growth is there. So, you know, um, hopefully with OJT Connect, we could fix that.
So do you personally know someone who has experienced a job mismatch? Someone who is overqualified for the job? How did he or she cope with the job skills mismatch?
You know what? Like 4 weeks ago, I got a call, and it was by another tech founder here in San Diego. No, no, like he's actually from Texas, and I'm not gonna name no names, but I was called by his virtual assistant, and the first thing I said was, "Are you Filipino?" And he goes, "Yes, I'm Filipino." And I told him, he did his little line. He, wanted to set up a meeting with me and this gentleman, and I said, "Hey, find me on LinkedIn. I want to talk to you." So I talked to him on LinkedIn, and this gentleman I spoke to was actually had a degree in electrical engineering. And he stated, and I presented OJT Connect to him, and he stated that it is difficult for him to find a job. It's been about 3 years he couldn't find a job. Um, and his best resort was to apply for a virtual assistant, which is unfortunate, but it is work. And I understand that. But I'm sure that's not what he wanted to do. So.
So far, what companies have agreed to enter into a partnership with OJT Connect? Why are these companies looking for OJT interns?
So I have about 5 companies that will be posting at the end of February. One is Care Mesa, um, and the other one is Link Mexico. We have a couple of other app companies, Aloha Laundry Life and What to Eat, and an e-commerce company, U Holdings. So pretty much, these companies, they have a vast amount of positions they want to fulfill, especially in technology. One of their main reasons for them to using OJT Connect is, of course, I'm not going to lie, they need the manpower. But they understand that an OJT program is about 6 months. But what they relayed to me is that it is difficult for them to find overseas workers, right? That they could trust with, that they could believe in. And the beauty about OJT Connect is it's somewhat of a trial for them. They're able to, you know, do the basic job application and interview these still students and filter them out and find the best ones they could find. And at the same time, they have about 6 months for these individuals. So the beauty about it is that it's kind of like a trial. They're able to have the student for about 6 months, and if they like what they like what they see, that's a potential job. And then they all stated that, it's a potential job since they already know how the company runs and the job that they've been doing for 6 months. So the potential's there.
So regarding the companies abroad which agreed to the partnership, how does one go about applying for an OJT program? Who shoulders the expenses?
As of right now, it's all remote, and that's the beauty of it. Everything we do is remote. There's no visa required. We don't need to fly anybody out. But it's really based on the company on their needs, right? So what OJT Connect is just a platform for them to connect. Any transaction that happens after that, it's up to the company to do. But for right now, the concept is working remotely.
Do companies value work experience more than a college degree? What about those who have no means to finish their college degrees?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a tough one. For me, when I hire, I go off of experience. I go off of character, and that's the beauty of a structure of a company. It's not, my philosophy when it comes to hiring is it's not always about the grades or about the school you go to. It's about your characteristics. If you're able to be part of the fluidity of a certain project or a certain company, and also experience. Experience is really important to me. So if you were to ask me if I were to hire, I value experience and character more than I do letters or the school you go to.
That's good news. Romel, can you take us what can you take us through through this? What jobs are in demand right now? Why are Filipinos not taking courses that can lead to high salaries in the job market?
Of course, we're all talking about tech, right? And I come from the world of tech, and with tech, it is the main thing right now. Everybody wants to be a software engineer. Everybody wants to go into cybersecurity. The thing about, answering your question about, should students pursue these careers just because it's the big thing? Um, I believe that shouldn't be necessarily the case. Just because it's a high salary position doesn't mean that should be that should be your goal. Your goal should be what you want to do, right? Um, of course, it provides opportunity, but then are you going to be happy with your job? Um, and also, if you were to go into computer science or in the technology space and major into it. I think the difficulties from what I see right now is the trust. I don't think the Philippines at the moment um, has, I guess, the trust factor with the world in terms of being a technology hub. And I think the world is missing out on it because I think the Philippines or Filipinos just in general, we're so talented. And and that's one of my main goals with this website. My main goals for this website isn't to get every Filipino a job, it's to change the narrative, to change the narrative of Filipinos and say, hey, world, look what we could do, right? And that's more important than anything, you know?
Is it also true that job dissatisfaction is one of the results of job skills mismatch? What can a dissatisfied employee do?
There's always going to be dissatisfaction, right? Especially with job mismatch. Um, no one's going to be happy in the job that they're doing if they're not doing the job that they went to school for, right? Um, and that's just unfortunate. It really depends on the person, right? If they hate their job, and they're just having a miserable time, you have to take initiative yourself, right? And that's where, for example, like a platform like this could come into play. If you're going to take initiative and say, hey, I'm tired of this desk job, this is not what I want to do. I got to suck it up and do an on the job training for 6 months so I could get my foot through the door. So, um, it, to answer your question, it's just the person. If they're not happy, they got to do something about it. But with OJT Connect, we're going to be that tool so they can do something about it. But really, we can't force anybody. It's up to them. And this platform is here to help them with that.
So these jobs for college degree holders, do they earn more than those who took vocational courses? Like in other countries, like in the United States, no, plumbers, electricians, and other jobs not requiring college degrees earn more. Is it true or not?
Oh yeah, man, like electricians, they have a union. They make so much money. You know why? It's because nobody wants to do those jobs, right? And they're hard jobs. Who really wants to be a plumber? Who wants to be an electrician? Hell, sorry about my language. Who wants to be a garbage man? Garbage men get paid really well here. So but of course with those specific positions, there isn't a degree that's in demand for them to do it. But then there's also certifications, there's an internship, there's all these requirements in order to start it. But if I have to say, yeah, these more laborious, more skillful jobs definitely do pay more. The downside of it is that, individuals who have degrees don't want to do it. They want that 9 to 5 respectable job, which doesn't pay that well compared to them, right? So it's really about the job, not really the pay, right? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, Romel, what can our universities and colleges do to help lessen job mismatches, underemployment, unemployment? Should guidance counselors in high school be more active in advising students what college course to take?
That's the traditional way of doing things. When I went to college, it was the same thing. The educational institution is so standardized that it's meant to follow these guidelines. I think what institutions should start doing is it's taking actual relevant work experience seriously, and adopting a platform like this. I'm not trying to pitch it to every single university right now, but providing the opportunity, whether they use OJT Connect or not. I think relevant work experience is the main factor for these students after graduating. And supporting them, because I know with OJT, students have to go out and find their OJT in most cases, and they don't really have the support of the school unless they go to a school that already has all these MOUs with all these companies already. But I think the support factor, they have to realize that a degree is just a degree these days, and what's really needed is is experience and a showcase of their work.
So looking to the future, are there any jobs which could eventually become obsolete, like the BPO or the call center industry?
You know the yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, you can't stop technology. There's always going to be an advancement of technology, right? And let's be honest, what technology does and the advancement of technology, it kind of it's pretty much it helps make life easier for us, right? And that's the main, focus on the advancement of technology. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if like an AI or something takes over the remote virtual assistant role or anything done remotely. But I think we do have to find that happy balance. And we can't we innovators like me and other business owners, we can't forget about the power of the human skill, the power of the human common sense. And we can't always rely on technology in order to fix all our problems.
What can the government, the Philippine government, do to prevent unemployment due to fast changing technological advances?
Mm. The government. I'm not very political. I don't know the economy of the Philippines, but I know one thing. I think the government should be more concerned about its people before they focus so much on technology. Like I said, the Philippines is slowly changing, right? But we're forgetting about those who already lack the opportunity, especially like the students in the province. You have an advancement in technology that's in the forefront in the Philippines. These students in the province, they're pushed even 30 steps back. Opportunity is really not going to be open for them. So I think with the government, I think they have to find that happy balance. Everything has to be a happy balance when it comes to the progression of technology and manpower. And we can't just be so focused on the hype or the excitement of new technologies.
Sir, you said before that students or applicants will just have to use the OJT Connect, and then within that, after that, it's not within your control anymore. How can you assure security with OJT Connect from fraudulent companies, of course?
I'm really big on security when it comes to this. Me and my developers we were actually talking about the security measures. I can let you know this. For every company that signs up, we are going to do a hard check. And this is going to be a manual check, especially if they're a company overseas or abroad. We're going to make sure they have a corporation, everything is valid. We're going to be checking every single social media outlet that they do have. It's going to take up to 24 to 48 hours for us to approve a business to even post on the platform. I don't want any loopholes. These are my people. This is a passion project of mine, and I'm not going to have any scams or people misusing these students. And that's what I don't want. And each company they're only going to have a student for 6 months. So,
That's good to hear. Thank you, Romel. Do you have any message for our Filipino students, Filipino applicants for this?
oh shoot, I don't got a quote just yet, but you know, all I could tell them is just believe in yourself. I know times are hard, but if you take initiative and just believe that you could do it, you could do it. And I want them to know that there's Filipinos like me back in the States who care about you guys, who care about the future of the Philippines. And it may have took a long time, but we're starting to realize that this is a problem, and we're coming in to try to help fix that problem.
There you go. Thank you so much, Romel, for introducing OJT Connect. And thank you for giving our Filipino students the opportunity to work and explore on their skills and experience, most especially that job mismatch, underemployment are looming in the are looming problems in the Philippines. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Dito po nagtatapos ang aming talakayan sa mga may init na isyong nakakaapekto sa pagbibigay ng serbisyong pampubliko ng mga institusyon at ahensya ng gobyerno. Sa pagbabago para sa pag-unlad, isulong natin ang reforma sa gobyerno. Maraming salamat.